Welcome back, everybody, to Niners Now. I'm your host, Brady Grustas, at GrustasBrady on X. You can follow me there. And the 49ers are no longer undefeated. They lose to the Jaguars in Week 4, an absolutely disgusting 26-21 game. We're going to get into all the good, the bad, and the very ugly from Sunday. And we're going to, of course, give out some grades as well. But before we begin, go ahead and subscribe down below, leave a like, leave a comment, and let's get into it. So, if you missed Sunday's game, congratulations. I did not recognize the 49ers team that played on Sunday. Because the Niners so far, they've been grinders, they've been physical, they've been well coached, they've been clutch, and they've been mentally strong. And that is not at all what we saw in Week 4. The final score does not accurately describe how sloppy this game was from both sides, from the Jaguars and the Niners. There's just something in the air in Levi's Stadium the other day. The energy was so strange. It was a very chippy game with more than one scuffle popping up. There's also a lot of tension between the coaching staffs. Before the game, Robert Saleh and Kyle Shanahan mentioned publicly that the Jaguars have a great system in place for picking up on defensive tells and signals and exploiting those. And Saleh, in particular, was very clear that this is all completely legal for the Jaguars. They're not breaking any rules. This is not an accusation of cheating at all. But Liam Cohen seemed to really let it get under his skin because he and Saleh had to be separated after the game ended. There's a video of Cohen saying, "Keep my name out of your mouth," to Saleh, who Saleh was just minding his own business, chatting with some players. I can't say on YouTube what I really think about that display from Liam Cohen after a win, no less. But he clearly took it pretty personally, and I think that's a little ridiculous. So that was kind of a weird cloud hanging over this matchup. And there were also lots of injuries to both teams. There were lots of penalties, lots of turnover-worthy plays, and some of which actually did turn into turnovers. And of course, there were also some missed calls from the refs. And sure, right, that's always to be expected. But at one point, head referee Clete Blakeman did something I've never seen happen in a football game in my life. He said that the 49ers accepted a penalty when Kyle Shanahan had explicitly declined the penalty. This ended up costing the 49ers, but I guess there was nothing to be done about it. Once Blakeman announced that the 49ers had accepted the penalty, that was just it. There was no review process or anything. He wasn't able to say, "Oops, my bad. They said they declined it." I don't know. It makes no sense, like I said, but the penalty was, in fact, accepted. The Jaguars' offense got an extra down thanks to that penalty, and they used that down to move the chains and eventually score. That drive was absurd, man. 19 plays long, 107 yards. And of course, it ended in a wide-open touchdown for backup tight end Hunter Long. And in case you forgot, a football field is only 100 yards long, but the Jaguars accumulated 107 yards of offense on a single drive thanks to some penalties. Not ideal. And it's not like the Jaguars are some unstoppable force either. They had 11 penalties. That offense especially was really having a hard time finding a consistent rhythm despite what was a pretty monster day from Travis Etienne Jr. But the 49ers could not pull out another fourth quarter comeback. And let's get into the grades now and talk about why. Now, I want to start off with the special teams grade, which is not an F, but it is very close. I'm going with a D-. Eddie Pinheiro did not miss a kick, good for him, but he did almost have an early kickoff go out of bounds. Luckily, Jaguars rookie LaQuint Allen caught the kickoff and kind of saved it for the 49ers, turned into a pretty sweet pin. But the reason that I have the special teams grade so low should be pretty obvious. The 49ers gave up another special teams touchdown, this one a punt return to Parker Washington, and he was barely touched the entire way. I mean, there was an argument that the refs missed a couple block in the back penalties on that play, but, you know, if a missed penalty is enough to give up a touchdown, then I think you've got bigger problems with the unit. It was really one of those plays that it just makes you think, why is this so easy for all the other teams And why is it so hard for the 49ers? Why haven't the 49ers had a return touchdown in 10 years? That touchdown was unfortunately the dagger for the 49ers in this one. It put the Jaguars up 26-14. And if you take that touchdown off the board, then the Niners would have won this game 21-20. The 49ers cannot cover kickoffs. They cannot punt. They can't cover punts. They can punt, but can't cover the return. They can't get any room in the return game themselves. Sky Moore is out there doing literally whatever he wants on returns. Sometimes he fair catches when he shouldn't. Sometimes he gets drilled when he should fair catch. It's a bad look. And the Niners were getting better on special teams too. We had 2 weeks in a row of nice league average special teams, but Sunday, just like the other phases in this game, the special teams fell apart. I don't get it. Man, 2 years in a row now, the 49ers have placed special emphasis on special teams while roster building. You've got guys like Darrell Luter, Saron Neal, Curtis Robinson, Luke Gifford, guys who were brought here to play special teams. Not to mention, brand new kicker, brand new punter, brand new long snapper, brand new coverage unit, the guys I just mentioned, brand new coordinator. And the special teams still suck. At least they did in week 4. Special teams were not the only problem for the 49ers on Sunday, but they certainly were one of them. Now, I got to talk about the defense next, all right? It is clear that the defense missed their stars in this game. And yeah, I do say stars because this was not a Defensive Player of the Year game from Fred Warner. 2 dropped interceptions for Fred in this game, and either one of them would have been the play that the Niners needed to secure yet another win. Fred did force a fumble in this one. It was a beautiful peanut punch, absolutely textbook play, but the Niners were not able to fall on it and secure the turnover. Now, I know I'm being critical, but I do want to congratulate Fred Warner on now being the 49ers' all-time leader in forced fumbles. Passed Patrick Willis with that forced fumble on Sunday. Congratulations, Fred. And he was one of the best players for the 49ers, at least defensively in this game. But even he was struggling to come up with these big plays. It was a story for defense in this game. I talked about it in my preview episode. The Niners needed to take advantage of the Trevor Lawrence mistakes that were inevitable in this one. And they did not do so. They did not do so one single time. The Niners did not take the ball away from Jacksonville once in this game. 2 dropped interceptions, a fumble that bounced the wrong way. They even got an interception that was called back due to a penalty. Upton Stout was so close to making that play clean, but he just got a little bit grabby, which of course is a theme for Upton Stout so far in this season. And this is now 11 straight games going back to last season with no interceptions for the 49ers defense. That is the longest streak for any team in NFL history, by the way. Pretty terrible stuff from the Niners. And it's not like the run game was any better, right? The defense was getting gashed by Travis Etienne. He had his way with them. 19 carries, 124 yards, and 1 long touchdown. That's Liam Cohen's specialty, right? He came to the Jaguars to fix the run game, and it looks like he certainly has so far. So to recap, the 49ers defense could not stop the run, they didn't force a single turnover, and they also couldn't rush the passer because there was no pressure in this game. Whether Saleh was blitzing, whether he was running stunts, it didn't matter. The defense did not do a good enough job pressuring Trevor Lawrence. They didn't hit him once. None of the 49ers defenders registered a QB hit on Lawrence. Not one. Not Mykel Williams, not Bryce Huff, not Kalia Davis. No making Lawrence uncomfortable whatsoever. It wasn't good enough. It just wasn't good enough. And that was also, by the way, against a backup offensive tackle. The Jaguars' best offensive lineman, Anton Harrison, had to leave the game for a little bit with some sort of arm issue. And the 49ers were getting worked by his backup, Chuma Edoga. They couldn't get anything on Edoga. It was pretty embarrassing. And yes, they were sending help on that right side, but still, it was just like, if you can't beat Chuma Edoga, what are we doing here? And, there's other reasons behind it too. Jaguars were committed to getting the ball out quickly, but still, Niners defense just has to be better at getting pressure. I'm going to give the defense a C for a grade. If the defense is going to have any serious level of pass rush, they're going to need to add someone through a trade. They're going to need to add a Trey Hendrickson or a Jermaine Johnson or a Jalen Phillips or some other guys that we may talk about later this week. Sending out Sam Aquanu and Robert Beal, it's not going to be good enough long term for this defense. And I gotta say, I thought the defense honestly played okay, like pretty good in the second half, but it just wasn't enough because they took too long to get going. Like Fred Warner said, their first half was not great. And of course, it was also not enough to overcome the offense. This was the worst game for the 49ers offense all year long. And I won't beat around the bush, man. This is an F for the offense. It's one of the worst games of Brock Purdy's career. He clearly, to me, was not 100% healthy. He says otherwise, but I trust my eyes out there. He was clearly playing with some sort of, affectation with his foot. He was missing passes all game long. They were all high. He would throw a little bit too high, like 6 inches too high on nearly every single throw. And sometimes the Niners receivers were able to bring it in, but there were a lot of drops as well. We'll get to those later. Brock also had 2 interceptions and the game-ending fumble in this one. In 2 games so far this season, Brock Purdy has 5 turnovers. That is brutal. Brutal stuff to start out Brock's season. And yeah, it's still early, right? And he played 2 talented defenses in Seattle and Jacksonville, but it's not good football at all. And it's not winning football. The first interception was a tough throw into tight coverage, and it was a little bit high, so McCaffrey had to tip it, and the ball bounced right into Devin Lloyd's hands. And I think that was kind of the perfect encapsulation of how the 49ers offense looked. I do think McCaffrey could have caught it, a little more on him later, but Brock has to be better. You've got to hit McCaffrey if he's open. He's got to get that toe feeling right. He needs to dial in. Can't play hero ball. If the check down is open, you gotta hit it and protect the football at all costs. Brock is the guy now, man. $50 million a year, franchise quarterback. And if that's the case, he can't play like this. It's unacceptable from a franchise quarterback. Now, of course, all that I said is true, but to be fair, Brock's not getting really much of any help out there. The 49ers had 6 drops in this game, and there were some wide open ones too, including an absolutely back-breaking drop from Kendrick Bourne on a huge 3rd down. Bourne was wide open over the middle of the field. Brock hit him right in the hands, and Bourne just dropped it. Absolutely brutal. The 49ers had to punt, and of course that punt is what turned into the return touchdown, which effectively ended the game for the 49ers. And you really got to wonder what this game might have looked like if Bourne didn't drop that pass. It was really like a Marvin Harrison Jr. type of drop. Not to disrespect Harrison too much, but Also, Christian McCaffrey had a couple of drops. What are you doing? One of the best receiving backs in the history of the NFL, dropping multiple passes in this one. Jennings had one he couldn't secure. It was a real problem on Sunday for the receivers. Funnily enough, the only 49ers receiver who did not drop a pass was Ricky Pearsall. And he had to take himself out of the game after landing too hard on his knee. It was a brutal, brutal showing from the passing offense, and it's not like the run game was much better. There is no success whatsoever on the ground right now. Christian McCaffrey was under 3 yards a carry in this game. He was at 2.9. And the blocking's just not good. Still no rushing touchdowns yet this season. The offense, they clearly miss Kittle blocking, right? But you should be able to score at least 1 touchdown in 4 weeks without your starting tight end, right? Kittle's absence is not the reason that they are playing so poorly. I think it is largely because defenses are loading the box every single week and forcing the 49ers to throw the football. Jaguars were putting 8 guys in the box and just daring the Niners to run. And in the first 3 weeks, the Niners were able to convert this strategy into wins, but not this time against one of the best pass defenses in the NFL. Now, the bright side, as always, for this offense was Ricky Pearsall. He had a fantastic showing in the limited amount of time that he was out there. because he's a fantastic football player. He's amazing. He had an unreal one-handed catch early in this one, and I really hope he could get back out there soon because there is no reliable passing game without Pearsall. That Thursday night game might look pretty rough if Ricky is not able to go. So that is a C for the defense, a D- for the special teams, and an F for the offense. Genuinely horrible showing. I think pretty clearly the worst of the year for the Niners. But if you're looking for some optimism, here it is. The 49ers play on Thursday Night Football this week against the Rams, so there is no time at all to dwell on this game. Christian McCaffrey said it in the post-game press conference. They have 3 days to correct their mistakes and prepare for the LA Rams. You don't have time to do anything else. You don't have time to sulk and, feel bad. There's no time for a pity party. We're on to week 5. And by the way, this game will be for first place in the NFC West, with both the Rams and Niners currently sitting at 3-1. I will be going to that game in SoFi Stadium, and I'm really looking forward to it. Never been to SoFi before. Looks gorgeous. I've seen all the pictures, all the videos. So I'm really pumped to go check it out. Now, usually playing a Thursday night game is kind of a disadvantage, but I think that this is a blessing in disguise for the Niners. There were a lot of really basic, uncharacteristic mistakes from the Niners on Sunday. There was poor run defense, dropped passes, there were penalties, there were turnovers. These are very avoidable plays. And the Rams are a good team, right? But they're not unbeatable. They were in a pretty close game with the Colts and, of course, blew that massive lead to Philly in week 3. And in the NFL, sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way, especially on Thursday nights. Those games get weird. Now, I don't want to put this week 4 loss on bad luck because I think it had a lot to do with poor execution mostly. But there was some bad luck involved in the Niners' week 4 loss. They could have had forced 3-4 turnovers maybe on the Jaguars, if not for some bad luck, right? 2 dropped interceptions by Fred Warner. Both of them, he was kind of like reaching out for it. If the ball bounced, the ball was tipped a little bit closer to him. He could have had a 2-pick day, right? Of course, there was the fumble that Fred forced, bounced right into the lap of LaQuint Allen. If it had bounced to the other side, maybe it was the Niners that recover that fumble. And then, of course, the Upton Stout play, right? If the refs didn't call that ticky-tacky penalty, Lawrence might have had an interception there too, right? Like you could easily see the 49ers getting 4 turnovers in this game, which would have equaled Jacksonville. But, Thursday nights are weird. These things are weird, and it's pretty unlikely, in my opinion, that the luck is going to be this bad for the 49ers 2 weeks in a row. The Niners are, of course, getting close to their mini-bye week. They've got a huge game coming up on a short week, and there's a lot to correct over the next 10 days or so if they really want to be serious about making the playoffs this year. But they are 3-1, and they are 1 win away from keeping sole possession of first place in the NFC West. So that is all for this episode. This, of course, was a really tough loss, but it's just one loss. Hopefully, they'll be better against the Rams. They've been really good at responding to adversity so far this season, and the 3 wins that the Niners do have are all examples of that. So they will have to come back on Thursday and respond. What were your top takeaways from this game? Let me know down below, and let me know if you enjoyed. Leave a comment, leave a like, and let me know if there's any topics that you'd like to see me cover. Thank you all for watching, and subscribe for 49ers videos 5 days a week. I'm Brady Grustas, at Grustas Brady on X. This has been Niners Now, and I will see you tomorrow.